Okay, welcome back to the show. It's now 9:33 in the studio, 27 minutes, 1 to the hour. In the studio with me, I have Mr. Davron Clark from our Fire and Rescue Services here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the studio.
Good morning, JQ. Good morning to everyone in the radio land who watching and listening. ZNZ. This morning, we're here to talk about a number of fire safety tips and what to do in an event of the fire so you can be safe, you and the family can be safe. So thank you for having me again, JQ.
You're most welcome. For the past 2 weeks, we have been looking at fire safety in the homes and in business places and the different classes in fire.
Yes.
We cover a lot. This morning, we're going to be looking at evacuation. But before we get into evacuation, let's take at least 2 more questions as it relates to the types of fires in homes and businesses, what we see, and how to deal with them.
Sure.
In particular, let's start with electrical fires in homes and businesses. What are some of the typical attributes that you have seen that causes electrical fires?
Yes, JQ, there are a number. Last time I spoke about basically we have been posing overloading the electrical cords, electrical sockets. Depending on let's say we have cords being run on the rugs. When we talk about heat, oxygen, and fuel needed to start fires.
Right.
So sometimes we have these wires are being frayed, cut, the wires are being exposed, and once we have those being touching any combustible ordinary combustible materials, fire will eventually ignite over time. Once we have the 3 fire, heat, oxygen, and fuel, they will start.
Right.
Some persons have because they're not cognizant of the kind of amps that they have and the type of fuses that are available. So we try to, let's say we're going to buy a dryer and we do not have the amp or the fuse to pull that dryer. So while the electricity is pulling all of that electricity, it's not enough. So eventually just say they burn out itself. We have persons who have fans at home. You know, after a while the blade stop running, stop moving around. So we tend to take off the cover and use our hand to flip it around.
Right, to get the extra jump start.
I like a jump start. What is happening there is we're having a bit of a friction going on. The motor is trying to pull enough electricity to get it work, but it is not working.
Right.
So by flipping it around, we're trying to force it more.
Right.
So one of the days when we are not present and the fan stop, the motor still going. Generate heat after heat after heat after heat, and it just start to burn. And sometimes we have the fan close our beds. So when that start to burn now and the plastic start to melt on the bed, fire can start as well. So these are some of the in-house tips. When it comes to, let's say, Christmas time, when we have the decoration, the lights and those kind of things, the curtain cloths being in direct contact with those lights as well. The lights get heated over a period of time.
Right.
All of these are going to start fires.
Right.
In the business sector now, where we have a number of electrical equipments, computers, machineries, or whatever, maybe they're not being monitored, and not being not being the person not coming in to ensure that they are working properly, proper maintenance. So over a while, you expect that that's tend to go bad, and we don't know. We might just start to smell some smoke in the area. Triggers the alarm. Fire department go in. We don't know where to look for. Or we know it's a smoke trigger the alarm. So we have to go all around, evacuate, and then find the source. Only to find out that it just maybe a local battery operated, what do you call those things? Battery pack on the ground is overloading, start to get some heat. The computer is overloading, so we have to shut down the whole system and reset it and these things.
Right.
So these are some of the things you can see in the homes and in the big industries. So basically, get an electrician over time to come and check your amps, your fuses, check your generators, make sure that they're kicking in when current are out. And that's another thing again. Sometimes when the current do go out, the generator does not kick in. And sometimes when the generators do kick in, they start a fire.
Right. So,
Proper maintenance.
so from what I'm gathering from you, sometimes individuals might do an upgrade and don't consult with an electrician.
Yes.
I'm thinking, okay, I have the resources, I'm going to use them. I have electricity. I need a new AC, and you might not be in the proper amperage range for the new AC.
Right.
Okay. you made mention of the industries as well. Let's go to the next question as it relates to the industries. What industries and environments are most at risk for Class D fires? You mentioned Class D a couple of weeks ago. I'm not familiar with the industries and the environments that that can happen to.
Okay, sure.
And that's metal, right?
Yes.
Right.
Combustible metals.
Yeah.
Right. So we have a number of metals. We have titanium, sodium, aluminum, magnesium. You'll find mostly in those places where you have person who do metalworks or welding, a person who makes like maybe aeroplanes or vehicles out of these metals. You have a wide area of these things. So let's say you're trying to drill a hole in a metal. What is going to be coming? While drilling, what is happening?
This is sparks.
You've seen sparks being released. Those sparks, once they're not cooled, once you have hazards around that area, the sparks are going to go out. There's ever oil spill over there, and it's not being cleaned up. The sparks are going to go over, hit the oil spill, and we have a major fire. Right? So when it comes, we cannot apply water because we're going to have a violent reaction. Water and metal, certain metals, we're going to have a violent. So we have dry powder. We have a powder that we use to apply it on, like trying sand on a fire, just like that. So it can be shoveled up. It can also be used in a fire extinguisher that will just completely blanket the entire burning material and just eliminate the heat from the fire. And we also have to look for reignition,
right?
Because once we put on the powder, once the heat get it, it's going to get hard. So once it get hard, oxygen will start to get in.
Right.
And we want to eliminate the oxygen, and then it will just flip again. So the message out for these persons who have the businesses with these electrical, because we have metalworks in schools.
Yeah.
I remember doing metalworks. My good teacher used to tell us, drill this, drill that, and sometimes these metals just flip all over the place. So we have all of these around. Just make sure that the area is clean and hazard free, and the persons in the area know exactly what to do in the event of a fire, and have the proper extinguisher and the training to get the fire out.
Before we move on to evacuation, and we just have 14 minutes before we do so. Left in the program, I should say. And by the way, 662-8674 if you have an input on the conversation. Cooking gas. Cooking oil fires. Why so difficult to extinguish, man? I've seen it as most recent over at the establishment in Frigate Bay. I've known of a case in town by another establishment down on the road close to the Pelican Mall area,
sure.
right? Yeah. I'm not going to call it business
yes.
at the moment, right? And, it's a long time. It's a long time. So, why cooking oil in particular is so difficult to distinguish?
Because we're gonna be plain. Over time, businesses use these oil.
Well, extinguish, not distinguish. Extinguish.
Sure, extinguish, yes.
Yeah.
Over time, they use the oil to get a little business going and make a little revenue to make themselves happy. But they're not focusing on cleaning up the area. Building up of these oils over time, days, weeks, months, years. They'll be steadier and saturate all over the walls, all over the deep fryers, all on the ground, all on the surface. Steady over just waiting for the correct percentage. We already have the oil, which is the fuel. Oxygen is in there. Heat is in there. And over time, we don't have the mechanism to get most of the heat out. There's having an ejector fan. So everything is staying there over time, and just heat after heat. One time you just decide, you know what? I'm going to light off. So the heat now, and the amount of build up of these fats and grease still over time. Once that starts, it's going to be very difficult to put out. And remember, we say we do not wish to use water because depending on the stream of water, the application, it might just spread the fire or might just not be effective at all. Right? So that's why you see sometimes we reach the entire place is engulfed in flames, because from the Basel Fire Station to Frigate Bay, 8-10 minutes, total demolishment. So again, asking persons to clean the area as possible. Maybe every time you finish, do a thorough cleaning, or once a month, a thorough cleaning using the greaser. Soap powder and this dish liquid cannot dive into the grease. So the greaser is going to remove it and scrape off all of these fats and
the buildups
that are around. And then over time, once you turn on the stove and you have the load of heat inside, you won't be able to catch these oils lingering and have a major catastrophe.
All right, thanks for sharing that. 662-8674, the line is now open for you to make your contribution if you have any or suggestion as well. In evacuation now, homes, you want to start there first?
We start with home. Next week we're going to continue with the businesses.
Okay.
Because of time.
Okay. Right. So let's get into that conversation.
Well, what is evacuation? The practice of safety leaving a building when there is an immediate fire risk is called fire evacuation. You need a well-structured evacuation plan, GQ. We're dealing with in the home now. We have an elderly person. We have a disabled person. We have someone who, a young person. We have an infant in the homes. Okay, fine. So we as a family now, we have to sit down and say, in an event of a fire, how are we going to deal with this fire? Remember first, alerting mechanism, smoke detectors. We have fire extinguishers placed in the homes. We have exit signs placed over the doors, front door, back doors. Okay? On the outside now, we need to find a meeting place where we go and stay there so we can do a roll call. A roll call is to make sure that everyone are out. Okay, let's go into the scenario now. In the dead of night, here the smoke detectors gone off. Beep, 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 beep. Everyone went out of the house. Or the most active person, let's say the father, get the key outside. What you forget? Grandma, infant, disabled person. Forgetting that they need to be evacuated as well. When you realize that I have my family inside to go for, it is too late. So we need a responsible person to be at the helm of these evacuation procedures. Get everyone together. I am the father. I'm the most active persons. We have smoke alarms. Once we hear that, hopefully we will hear it and get out. Try to get out. Who will go for the infant? Mommy, go for infant. Get out. The elderly person, we're going to get out that elderly person. We're going to get out the disabled person. Need a wheelchair to get out. Doing this now, we don't expect to go look for a wheelchair to put the person, lift up the person, to put them to sit down and out. So we have to ask advice from the fire department. How do we get out these persons in a swift manner? We'll come, we assess, we educate. Okay? This time now, blum, 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 father, he heard this sound. Because remember we say the fire extinguisher can only extinguish fire in its incipient stage. There's no need to run out the house. Once you have a fire extinguisher, the proper extinguisher there present, you can always extinguish the fire. And during that process there, you can always start the evacuation process. Don't run left the fire. It will get intensified over time. Extinguish it in quick time. Okay? So we get out the infant, mother out, grandfather out, disabled person out. We don't want person to be going up and down the place, going by a neighbor talking, going here to drink some water. We have to go to the assembly point, the safe area. Maybe about maybe couple feet away or yards away from you. So once all of you all go there, the father who will be taking responsibility, we go there and make check. Mom, you available? Yes. Infant? Yes. Disabled? Yes. Grandma? Yes. All are accountable for. So when we as the fire department comes down, the father should be there waiting for us because we need information as to what will happen. Okay, there was a fire in the kitchen. I use a fire extinguisher. I extinguish the fire. All of my family members are out. The fire department and we all are safe. So we know we just go in and attempt to get this heated smoke out of the building, ventilate the property. So that is basically how the whole system goes. First, we must have signs. Signs are very, very important.
Even in the homes?
Even in homes. Because, yes, you can have a sleepover. A family member coming from overseas.
Right.
They don't know about the procedures.
Right.
They remember where the signs are because the flight came in late. They see the arrows pointing to the doors. Then I see the exits over the doors. You understand?
Right.
So, once you have these signs and just update them, these are the procedures just in case. Right? Remember, once we get out, we cannot go back in. Forget about the iPhone, forget about the computer, forget about the money, forget about all of these stuff. They can be replaced. We cannot replace lives. So once you get out, you stay out. Once your clothes catches fire, just in case a fire happened to catch one of us, one of your family members' clothes, stop, drop, and roll. We don't expect you to be inside doing this because the house is on fire. So we get them out, throw them on the ground, roll them over. Or we can get a blanket, a wet blanket, mind you, and try to cover them. Because if there's a dry blanket and you're outside and you're beating them, what is going to happen?
You're going to ignite the fire.
It's going to ignite the fire because we will fan in the fire. So just throw them on the ground safely, wet something and cover them, or just keep rolling them. Make sure the face is covered and roll until the fire is out.
Right.
So these are some of the basic evacuation tips that we have here for today. And also, if you need assistance, they can always contact us.
Okay.
We also have to practice it over time. Because over time, things may just happen. We have to go back to the drawing board and do it over again. So don't put it there, leave it there. And it also has to be practiced. So you just decide, come into there and just hit that switch. One load of night, see what's going to happen. Everybody go run out, still forgetting that we have to rescue person and put out the fire. They will do it over and over again until we get it right. So general public, these are some safety measures as it relates to the types of fires, the types of extinguishers, the types of extinguishers that we use on different types of fires, and what to do in an event that a fire is in your home so you can get you and your family out safely.
Yeah. Mr. Clark, I want to thank you for sharing the knowledge this morning. And as you indicate, we will look at part 2 of the evacuation business side next week. Yes. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much, Shika.
And thank you for listening and watching wherever you are. You're in tune to The Morning Show. We'll be back right after these messages.